Professor Grant holds up a receipt that says $9.99, then tears it in half across a glowing 20-year timeline. One half looks harmless, the other half becomes a stack of monthly charges that quietly eats a future investment account. This is the strange math of modern subscriptions. The charge is tiny, the commitment is invisible, and the damage compounds slowly. Ryan has 5 services he barely thinks about. Daniel has 5 services too, but he treats every renewal like a decision. They earn the same salary, live in the same city, and start this story with the same financial breathing room. Neither man is careless. Neither man is secretly rich. They are both trying to make normal adult life feel easier. The question is not whether Netflix, cloud storage fitness apps, meal plans, and streaming bundles are good or bad. The question is whether a life full of small automatic payments still leaves enough money to become future capital. Let's keep the numbers simple. For illustration, Ryan starts with $95 a month in recurring digital subscriptions. That includes entertainment music, cloud storage, 2 app memberships, and 1 annual service he forgets to divide by 12. Daniel also likes entertainment. He is not pretending to live in a cabin with no Wi-Fi and no joy. But Daniel rotates services. He keeps 1 main streaming app, 1 music plan, and cancels anything he has not used. His starting subscription cost is $45 a month. The gap between them is only $50. $50 does not sound like a wealth killer. That is why this trap works so well. By year 1, Ryan barely notices the difference. His bank account leaks softly, not dramatically, which makes it easy to ignore. A price goes from $9.99 to $12.99. Another plan removes the cheap tier. A bundle adds channels. A P reported that YouTube TV's base plan rose by $10 to $82.99 starting in January 2025. That is one example, not the whole market, but it shows the larger pattern subscriptions rarely stay frozen forever. Ryan tells himself each increase is small. He is right about each increase. He is wrong about the stack. Professor Grant writes one word on the board: total. Not price, not discount. Total. At the end of year 1, Ryan spent about $1,140 on recurring plans in this simplified model. Daniel spent about $540 and invested the $600 gap into a broad index fund. At a 7% illustrative annual return, that first year's gap is not impressive. It is maybe a dinner bill. This is the cruel part. The early reward for discipline is boring, and the early cost of neglect feels harmless. Ryan got convenience. He got shows, storage music workouts, and fewer small decisions at the end of a long workday. Daniel got a slightly annoying calendar reminder to cancel services before the free trial turned into a paid plan. So if the story ended in year 1, Ryan might look happier and Daniel might look unnecessarily strict. But subscriptions are not one-year decisions. They are systems that renew until someone interrupts them. By year 3, Ryan's $95 has become $160 a month. Not because he woke up one morning and chose a more expensive life. That would be easier to see. It happened through small plan upgrades, sports add-ons, password sharing changes, app trials, and services bundled into other services. Reuters has covered consumer protection scrutiny around subscription price hikes, including Netflix-related disputes in Europe over customer consent. The details vary by country and company, but the consumer problem is familiar. Recurring charges can move quietly. Ryan still thinks of his subscription life as a $9.99 problem. His bank statement says otherwise. Daniel's system has friction built in. Once a month, he checks every recurring charge and asks whether it earned renewal. That habit is irritating. He misses a finale one Friday night because he canceled the service 2 weeks earlier. His friends are talking about the episode. Daniel is outside the conversation, and that social cost is real. Practical friction matters on both sides. Ryan pays with money, Daniel pays with inconvenience, attention, and occasional annoyance. At year 3, Daniel's invested gap has reached roughly $2,600 in the simplified model. That number is still not life-changing, but it has crossed an important line. The money now has momentum. Ryan's subscriptions have momentum too. The difference is that Ryan's momentum pulls cash out, while Daniel's momentum builds capital. By year 5, the trap becomes more personal. Ryan is not using half the plans he pays for. He keeps a premium fitness app because he imagines restarting next month. He keeps 3 video services because canceling feels annoying. He keeps cloud storage because he is afraid of losing old photos. He keeps a news app he barely opens. None of those decisions is irrational by itself. The irrational part is refusing to count them together. Ryan's recurring bill is now $215 a month. Daniel's is $65. Daniel is not winning effortlessly. His lower bill costs him time. He has to track renewal dates and rotate entertainment. He sometimes reactivates a service, forgets to cancel, and loses 1 month. The system is imperfect because humans are imperfect. But Daniel's default is review. Ryan's default is renewal. Over time, default settings become financial outcomes. At year 5, the invested difference is approaching $11,000 using the same illustrative 7% return. Professor Grant does not call that number huge. He calls it a signal. A repeated behavior is becoming visible. Now Ryan gets hit with real life. His car needs a $2,000 repair, and his emergency fund is thin. The subscriptions did not cause the repair, they caused something quieter, less room to absorb the repair. Ryan puts the balance on a credit card. The monthly minimum fits, but the interest keeps the problem alive. This is where small recurring spending becomes serious. It does not need to bankrupt you directly to weaken your position. It only needs to consume the margin that would have protected you when life became expensive. Daniel has the same car repair. He hates paying it. He complains about it like a normal person. But his invested gap and savings habit give him cash options. He pays the repair without creating new debt. By year 10, Ryan earns more than he did at the beginning. The raise should have created space. Instead, his subscription layer expanded into the raise. Premium tiers, family plans, cloud upgrades, software tools, and streaming bundles followed him. His recurring bill is now $300 a month. That still sounds survivable inside a middle-class paycheck. But $300 a month is $3,600 a year before counting delivery apps, memberships, or impulse purchases. Daniel's recurring bill is $90. He is not living without subscriptions. He is refusing to let them govern him. The gap between them is now $210 a month invested steadily in Daniel's model. At year 10, Daniel's subscription gap portfolio is roughly $34,000 under the same illustrative assumptions. That is not magic. It is the boring result of stopping money from disappearing automatically. Now add one more layer that almost nobody tracks: annual plans that advertise a discount but remove another review point. Ryan pays yearly for software warehouse delivery, a language app, and a security service because the yearly option looks cheaper. Sometimes it is cheaper, but it also moves the pain from monthly awareness into one forgettable charge that renews later. Daniel uses annual plans only for services he has already used for a full year and would repurchase today. That rule sounds small, but it changes the decision from optimism to evidence. Ryan also has the free trial problem. A free trial does not feel like spending because nothing leaves today. But the card is attached, the renewal date is hidden in email, and the cancellation screen is never the easiest screen. Daniel gets caught by this too. He once paid 3 months for a meditation app he opened exactly twice. The difference is not perfection. The difference is whether the mistake becomes a permanent line item. Professor Grant circles this point because it is the heart of the subscription trap. Automatic renewal converts forgetfulness into revenue. That revenue might be fair when the service is useful. It is expensive when the service is only remembered at tax time. Ryan's bank statement now has so many small names that none of them feels responsible for the tight budget. The charges hide inside each other. $10 here, $16 there, $20 for a bundle, $8 for extra storage. When Ryan cuts one service, the savings feels too small to matter, so he gives up before finding the full stack. Daniel understands that one cancellation rarely changes your life. A system of cancellations can change your cash flow. He builds a simple rule: every recurring charge must be wanted, used, or needed. If it is none of those, it leaves. That rule is boring. It also protects him from confusing access with ownership. A subscription gives you permission to use something. An investment gives you a claim on something. Those are not morally different. They are financially different, and the difference becomes larger with time. Ryan looks at his statements and feels confused. He does not own anything that explains why he feels tight. That confusion is common because subscription spending leaves almost no physical evidence. No garage full of purchases, no visible luxury, just access. Access to libraries, content tools, storage games, delivery perks, and convenience that vanishes when billing stops. OECD work on digital payments notes that digital tools can affect spending behavior by lowering the pain of payment. That matters here because subscriptions combine low pain, low attention, and automatic repetition into one financial machine. The machine is not evil. It is simply optimized for retention, and retention means your card stays attached. By year 15, the social pressure has changed. Canceling subscriptions now feels like losing parts of normal life. Ryan's household has multiple people using different services. One person wants sports, one wants movies, one wants music. Every cancellation creates a small domestic negotiation. Nobody wants to be the person who removed the thing everyone used once. So Ryan delays. He promises to audit everything later. Later becomes next month, then next year. Daniel's household has conflict too. Rotating subscriptions requires planning, and not everyone loves the system. Sometimes Daniel pays for 2 services in the same month because the family wants an easier week. That is the fair version of the math. Discipline is not free. It uses attention, and attention is limited. But Daniel still has one rule: if a charge repeats, it must justify itself again. At year 15, the invested difference is roughly $71,000 in this simplified model. Ryan has spent plenty of money on things he enjoyed. That part should not be dismissed. Some subscriptions delivered real value. Music during commutes, cloud backup for family photos, and shows after exhausting workdays matter. The problem is the unexamined middle, the services not loved, not used, and not canceled. By year 20, the numbers become hard to ignore. Ryan's subscription layer is $350 a month. Daniel's is $115. The monthly gap is $235. Across the full 20 years investing, the changing monthly gap reaches about $130,000 in this model. That is the real headline, not $9.99, not one forgotten app, the full system over time. Ryan did not lose $130,000 in a single bad decision. He lost it through thousands of tiny renewals. Daniel did not build it through genius. He built it by forcing recurring charges to compete against future options. Professor Grant puts both lives on the board. Ryan bought ease. Daniel bought flexibility. Neither purchase is automatically wrong. Ease has value when your life is overloaded, your job is demanding, or your family needs peace. Flexibility has value when you need cash, want choices, or do not want every paycheck pre-assigned before it arrives. The real mistake is pretending a subscription is cheap because the first digit is small. A $9.99 charge is not one charge if it repeats for years, rises over time, and invites more charges beside it. It becomes a claim on future income, small, quiet, polite, and persistent. So the real money math test is simple. Count the monthly total. Count the annual total, then count the opportunity cost. Ask which subscriptions you would buy again today if they did not already have your card. Ask which ones solve a real problem and which ones only remove the discomfort of making a decision. Ask whether the time saved becomes rest, family time, income, skill building, or just another hour of passive scrolling. That question keeps the analysis fair because cutting subscriptions also has a cost. Your time is not worthless. If a tool saves 5 stressful hours every month, it may be worth far more than $10. If a service protects memories, supports work, or brings real family enjoyment, the math may support keeping it. But if a charge survives only because cancellation is annoying, that is not value. That is inertia. Canceling is not the same as deprivation. Sometimes it is simply moving money from a forgotten corner into a deliberate plan. Keeping a subscription is not failure either. It only needs to be a conscious purchase instead of a quiet habit. The real win is not having fewer apps. The real win is knowing exactly what each app is trading against. Ryan and Daniel started with the same income. The gap did not come from talent luck or a secret investing trick. It came from whether each recurring charge had to defend its place in the budget. The subscription trap is not that companies charge money. The trap is that you stop noticing they are charging it. Once you notice, the math becomes yours again.